Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good day everyone. So hari ni kita nak continue our lesson. If before this we have learned about what is statistic, the type of statistic, kita tengok a few types of a few terms in statistics. Okay, we have two type of variable, which is qualitative variable and quantitative variable. What is qualitative, what is quantitative? We have two types of data, which is primary data and secondary data. So hari ni kita nak tengok tentang a few more topics on statistic, which is introduction to statistic. The first one is about the method of data collection. So data collection method, cara-cara kita untuk mendapatkan data. Okay, there is a few data collection method. Okay, the first one is by using direct or personal interview. So direct and personal interview ni maksudnya face to face lah. Awak pergi jumpa dengan respondents dan kita interview. So direct or personal interview ni adalah trained interviewer will get the information from respondent depending on the objective of the survey and based on questionnaire. So bila kita buat sesuatu research ataupun kalau kita ada sesuatu topik yang kita nak kaji, biasanya kita dah tahu dah apa yang kita nak tanya kepada kita punya respondent. Okay, so interviewer ni dia akan pergi jumpa dengan respondent dan dia akan dapatkan information based on the objective of the research ataupun based on the objective or the aim of the topics. Okay, commonly used in marketing research and social survey. So katakanlah macam contohnya kita nak tengok student satisfaction about ODL. Macam mana dengan student punya kepuasan hati tentang ODL. So one of the way ataupun one of the method untuk kita dapatkan data adalah dengan membuat ataupun melakukan direct or personal interview. Okay, and each data collection method ni ada dia punya advantages and also disadvantages. So kita akan tengok kalau untuk direct and personal interview, what is the advantages of doing the direct and personal interview. The first one is we will obtain higher percentage of response than other method. Of course lah, kalau kita jumpa face to face dengan respondent directly, we will obtain the information that we want. Okay, directly we will get the question that we want them to answer. Kalau kita tanya soalan, kalau kita dah jumpa face to face, mestilah kita akan dapat information apa yang kita nak. Okay, so the advantages of doing the direct and personal interview adalah kita akan ada higher percentage untuk dapat respon daripada respondent. Okay, and the second advantages is there are many respondent which are cooperative than non-cooperative. Maksudnya, if we jumpa the respondent face to face, we are doing the direct or personal interview, usually respondent will respond to us. Okay, jarang respondent akan ignore kita. Tambah-tambah kalau kita buat appointment, contohnya we call them, we ask them if we can see them to interview. Of course, bila kita datang interview tu, diorang akan respon dengan kita punya soalan ataupun pertanyaan. Okay, therefore many respondent will be cooperative compared to non-cooperative respondent. Maksudnya diorang akan bekerjasama. Okay, interviewer can detect whether the respondent is giving an accurate answer from their characteristic. So bila kita buat face to face, direct interview ni kita boleh nampak dekat muka dia. Once kita tanya soalan tu, kita boleh nampak dia punya reaction directly. So kita senang untuk detect kalau apa yang dia jawab tu sama ada betul ke atau mencurigakan ke. So directly we can see. Can ask a lot of questions. So bila kita interview, kita boleh tanya apa je yang kita nak tanya. Okay, it's not limited. Okay, as long as the respondent tu rasa tak terganggu, so kita boleh dapatkan any information that we want. And the interviewer cannot specific reaction and the environment surrounding the respondent. So kita boleh nampak masa dia jawab soalan tu, adakah dia dipengaruhi oleh sesuatu keadaan, contohnya mood dia, adakah mood dia okey ataupun tidak. Dia jawab soalan kita tu, adakah dia dipengaruhi oleh orang sekeliling ataupun tidak. Okay, compared to other method, bila kita buat direct interview ataupun personal interview, kita boleh nampak. Okay, so it is advantages. How about the disadvantages of doing the direct and personal interview? The first one is the cost is high. Okay, the cost is high. Okay, so kalau kita upah orang untuk interview, of course we need to pay their salaries. Then kalau kita sendiri pergi interview, of course there will be a travelling cost. Kalau kita interview orang terdekat tak apalah. Tapi kalau kita interview yang jauh-jauh, contohnya kalau macam kita ada certain targeted companies, so we need to go there. So when we want to go there, of course there is a travelling cost, there is a accommodation cost, okay? So it will be hardly in cost. That one is the first disadvantages. And the second disadvantages is interviewer must be trained so that the data received is accurate and does not show biasness. So, tak semua orang boleh jadi interviewer. Okay, because untuk kita dapatkan respon daripada responden, mestilah cara, metodologi yang kita guna untuk interview responden tu mestilah betul dan tepat. Okay, so that we will get the accurate or the correct answer from our respondent. So, interviewer tu must be trained. Okay. Error may occur in recording statement or responses. Ini adalah technical error. Katakanlah kalau kita salin jawapan dia, so error mungkin akan berlaku masa kita salin. It's not all words yang keluar daripada mulut dia kita boleh tulis. Ataupun if we record the session, interview session tu kita record, it might not be clear, ataupun later bila kita nak buka balik recording tu mungkin ada technical error ke, recording tu tersekat-sekat ke ataupun halfway ke. Okay, that one can be the disadvantages, because we have no hitam putih, black and white. Kita directly face to face, kita verbal punya interview. Okay, error may occur in recording statement or response. Okay, interviewer should be supervised to ensure that he has actually contacted the proper respondent. So macam tadilah, interviewer ni tak boleh main ambil je siapa-siapa untuk interview. Dia mesti tahu target dia. Kalau dia nak interview student mana, kelas mana, kenapa, semua tu kena train. Okay, so semua tu kena train. Interviewer must be yang the one yang kita dah train, ataupun yang the one yang memang betul-betul eligible ataupun layak, qualified untuk buat interview. And time consuming approach, of course, if we need to face to face, we need to meet the respondent, it will be time consume. Kita kena luangkan masa. Kalau seorang tu 10 minit, kalau 6 orang dah sejam. Okay, so it time consuming approach, sebab dalam satu masa seorang interviewer hanya boleh interview seorang respondent. Okay, so that one is the first method to collect data. Okay, the second method is telephone interview. So this one is also interview, but then just now we see about the direct interview ataupun personal interview, which is it happen face to face. But now is telephone interview, where we do the interview through the telephone. Okay, so telephone interview is the interview that use telephone as a personal interview. Means that we call our respondent and when we interview them through telephones, conducted by telephone service line, and respondent are asked to respond to the questionnaire. Is similar to the personal or direct interview, but then it just happen through telephone. Kalau tadi dia berlaku secara depan-depan, sekarang dia melalui telefon. So what is the advantages and disadvantages of this method? The advantages is lesser time is needed to obtain the information, because kita tak perlu pergi ke mana-mana location. Okay, from our current location, kita boleh terus je directly call our respondent dekat mana-mana kita berada, dekat mana-mana respondent berada. We just need to call them. So it's lesser in time, okay, berbanding dengan direct interview just now. And then the investigator can also monitor the interviews to follow the specified procedure. Maksudnya still sama macam yang interview direct tadi, kita still boleh monitor daripada percakapan, but then the perbezaan adalah kalau tadi direct ataupun face to face interview, we can see direction, but now we just only can assume from their voice. Okay, tapi kita still lagi boleh guide dia untuk diikut prosedur yang betul to answer our question. Okay, less expensive than the personal interview owing to the elimination of travelling expense. So yang saya cakap tadi lah, okay, tak perlukan travelling expense, akan jimat sedikit masa, akan jimat sedikit cost. So itu adalah advantages compared to face-to-face or personal interview. How about the advantages of doing telephone interview? The first one is limitation, is that we restrict ourselves to only among the telephone users. Tapi yang nombor satu ni macam tak berapa nak relevant pada masa kini, because of all of us dah memang ada telefon, melainkan our respondents is orang-orang tua yang mungkin tak mempunyai telefon. So we have restriction di mana kita hanya boleh telefon orang yang ada telefon sahaja. Tapi kebanyakan daripada kita pada zaman sekarang ni semuanya ada telefon. Orang tua pun ada telefon, orang muda pun ada telefon, budak-budak pun ada telefon. So this one is not really the disadvantages of this method. Okay, but we can consider this one as well. Okay, the second one is only short question can be asked. So kalau you guna telefon, takkan nak tanya panjang-panjang kan? Sebabnya kalau kita tanya panjang-panjang, orang yang mendengar ni kadang-kadang dia tak dapat, because we are not seeing each other faces. Okay, so kita nampak muka dia. So bila kita cakap through telefon, saya tak cakap panjang-panjang macam awak dengar video sekarang. Kalau saya membibir panjang, awak tak dapat pun the point. Okay, so we need to ask them in a short sentence, okay, dan tak terlalu panjang, ringkas dan dapat point tu. Okay, to disadvantages by using telephone. And then the response rate is lower than the personal interview. Okay, sometimes we call, they are not angkat the telephone. Okay, ataupun kita call, they only can spend about 10 minutes to 15 minutes and then they have another things to do. So itu adalah restriction ataupun limitation bila kita guna interview berbanding yang kita datang face to face. Kalau kita datang face to face ni biasanya responden dia dah spare masa untuk kita berbanding dengan kita telefon, because biasanya kalau kita telefon, kita akan telefon on the dot ataupun on the spot. Okay, melainkan kita buat appointment. Okay, boleh tak nanti malam saya nak telefon untuk interview dalam lebih kurang sejam. Itu kita boleh tanya macam-macam soalan. Okay, and the other disadvantages is interviewer has to find the correct time to interview the respondent ni. Of course lah. Okay, takkan kita nak telefon dia masa dia bekerja, takkan kita nak telefon dia masa dia tengah malam nak tidur. Okay, so kita kena buat appointment ataupun kita kena cari masa yang sesuai untuk kita telefon kita punya respondent. So that one is disadvantages. Okay, advantages and disadvantages of data collection method ni biasanya kita boleh fikir secara logik pun. Awak boleh fikir pun secara logik apa dia disadvantages, kelebihan kalau kita guna telefon interview, jimat masa, kat mana-mana boleh buat. Apa dia kekurangan dia tak boleh lama, kena cari masa yang sesuai. So benda tu semua kita boleh fikir. Okay, so the next data collection method is mail questionnaire. Maksudnya kita buat questionnaire and then we send our questionnaire to the respondent through email. Okay, maksudnya kita kena construct questionnaire, then we can ask them or give to them to answer our questionnaire through email. So mail questionnaire is the one of the method that we mail to the respondent. Okay, kita email kepada respondent. A carefully constructed questionnaire will encourage participation by the respondent. Maksudnya kalau questionnaire yang kita buat tu tersusun rapi, senang nak faham, ayat dia ringkas tapi on point, so that one akan attract orang untuk jawab berbanding dengan questionnaire yang payah nak faham. Okay, kadang-kadang orang akan bantai jawab. Alright, does not require interview, tak perlukan kita untuk interview, we can just email. So this one is very jimat masa, because at one time we can email many person and we just let them to answer our question and they will return back the questionnaire to us with the answer. Okay, questionnaire that are distributed enjoy high initial response rate. Okay, kalau questionnaire tu kita distribute, biasanya orang akan respond. Tapi depends juga, tengok pada keadaan, tengok pada soalan dan tengok pada question yang kita tanya dalam questionnaire. So what is the advantages and disadvantages of mail questionnaire? Okay, so the advantages adalah convenience, since wider region can be covered. Okay, compared to telephone interview dan personal interview, kalau telephone interview pun at one time kita hanya boleh telefon seorang interviewer kepada seorang respondent, but then it lesser in time because we are not no need to travel to any location compared to personal interview. But for mail questionnaire, kita boleh cover seluruh tempat. Kalau kita nak hantar ke overseas pun tak ada masalah, because we just need to email them. Okay, we just need to email them and give them some times untuk dia fulfill ataupun complete the questionnaire. So at one time, we actually waiting for many response. Pada satu masa, kita sebenarnya sedang menanti banyak respon. Mungkin dalam masa 15 minit, kalau buat face-to-face interview, kita hanya boleh nak interview seorang. Okay, tapi kalau kita mail the questionnaire, kita email questionnaire dalam 15 minit, mungkin ada 15 orang tengah isi questionnaire kita. Okay, so convenient, dia boleh cover banyak tempat dan juga di mana-mana. Entails a relatively lower cost, of course. We don't need any cost. Kalau telefon tadi kita ada cost juga, kena bayar bill. But then if email, there is no cost. We just need data, which is, I think, is not much of data that you need if you want to email the questionnaire to the respondents. Okay. Information received from the respondent is free from the biasness of the investigator. Maksudnya, kalau kita pergi interview kan, is either we interview them face-to-face, personal interview, or we interview them through telephone, somehow, kadang-kadang kalau dia nak jawab, dia akan fikir macam, apa yang interviewer ni akan fikir kalau aku jawab macam ni. Maksudnya dia terpengaruh oleh investigator tu, orang yang bertanya tu. Mungkin dia tak berani nak jawab secara jujur. Tapi kalau questionnaire ni, biasanya sebabkan kita tak jumpa pun dia, so dia akan lead the respondent to answer it without biasness lah. Okay, maksudnya dia boleh answer secara jujur apa soalan yang kita tanya dekat dia. No prior arrangement necessary to conduct the survey. Tak perlu buat apa-apa appointment, since we can just email them. When they free, they will read the email and answer our questionnaire. Okay, compared to telephone interview and personal interview just now, we need to do appointment so that we can find the suitable time untuk kita interview the respondent. But then untuk questionnaire ni, we can blast the email at any time. They will open the email when they free and they will answer the questionnaire when they free. So there is no need of appointment. Okay. Information may be elicited or sensitive, which should be embarrassing to obtain face-to-face interview. So if we are considering, or if we are doing the research that include ataupun melibatkan isu-isu sensitif, somehow kalau kita buat interview secara face-to-face ataupun telefon, respondent might be embarrassed ataupun malu ataupun segan untuk jawab secara jujur. So questionnaire ni, dia lebih terbuka untuk menjawab secara jujur, because kita tak nampak dia buat questionnaire, dia answer questionnaire tu lonely, dia je yang answer, dan dia akan return balik kepada kita. Okay, so that one is advantages of the mail questionnaire. How about disadvantages of the questionnaire? The first one is lowest rate of response. So sometimes if we email our respondent, kalau kita tak ingatkan, dia mungkin lupa untuk jawab questionnaire kita. So it will lead to lowest rate of response. Maksudnya orang yang respon tu sikit berbanding kalau kita directly personal interview ataupun kita buat telephone interview. Respondent may not return the questionnaire within the specified time. Ini benda biasa lah bila orang sibuk. Contohnya kalau kita interview the one yang bekerja, okay, dia baca email kita pagi, lepas tu dia cakap, tak apalah, nantilah malam lah buat. Malam dia dah lupa. Okay, so kita need to remind them. Kalau tak, dia akan tak return kita punya questionnaire within the specified time lah. Okay, so that one is the advantages. Respondent might not understand the question asked. So bila kita tulis, dia lain dengan kita tanya directly. Kalau kita tanya direct, kalau dia tak faham, dia boleh tanya kita. Tapi bila dia baca questionnaire, if dia tak faham, biasanya dia akan bantai dia jawab. So that one is disadvantages of questionnaire lah, because it's written question. It's not the one yang kita tanya. It's written, tertulis dekat situ. So somehow orang boleh faham, tapi kadang-kadang orang tak faham apa yang kita maksudkan. No one can assist the respondent in answering the questionnaire. Therefore, the respondent may become frustrated and not bother completing or returning the questionnaire. Ini macam masalah tadilah. Bila dia tak faham questionnaire tu, sama ada dia tak jawab ataupun dia bantai dia jawab. So, that one is disadvantages. So, bila dia buat macam tu, kita pun takkan dapatlah jawapan yang kita nak. Ataupun kita mungkin akan dapat jawapan, tapi jawapan tu tak menggambarkan keadaan sebenar. Alright, so that one is disadvantages of mail questionnaire. Okay, next data collection method is direct observation. Okay, pemerhatian secara terus, direct observation. Observation ni pemerhatian. So observation is used in work study and in organisation. Biasalah organisation, kalau macam bosses ni dia akan observe. Okay, supervisor dia akan observe dia punya supervisee. Is direct observation. A quality control exercise in a factory making light bulbs, in which the data are collected by taking bulbs from the production line and observing the number of hours they last. Ni contoh lah. Okay, kalau macam QC, quality control punya department, dekat dalam kilang yang buat lampu, so dia nak tengok dalam satu masa berapa banyak lampu yang boleh dihasilkan. So just observe. Okay, dia observe dekat production line, number of hours yang diperlukan untuk menghasilkan certain number. So that one is direct observation contoh. Used by social scientists in learning the habits and custom of communities. So kalau macam social science, dia nak tengok behavior of communities pun biasanya orang akan buat direct observation. Maksudnya pergi ke satu tempat, pergi ke mana targeted area or targeted community, then we observe. Okay, we directly see their social life, macam tu lah. So itu direct observation. So what is the advantages of direct observation? It record what actually happened rather than what people say would happen. Maksudnya kita tak tanya pun apa dia cakap, because if we ask, okay, somehow the answer from the respondent might be true or might be false, ataupun dia mungkin mereka-reka cerita. But then if we observe, so we can see what actually happened, the real system or the real phenomena yang berlaku. So kita tengok dengan mata kita sendiri. So it might be the correct lah, yang lagi tepat lah, maklumat yang lagi tepat. How about disadvantages of direct observation? The observer need to be highly skilled and unbiased. So ini samalah macam interviewer. Okay, untuk orang yang observe, dia perlu memiliki kemahiran tertentu. So dia tak boleh lah main observe, suka hati dia je buat kesimpulan, bias, ikut suka hati. Maksudnya kalau dia suka sesuatu benda, dia bagi observation yang bagus. Kalau dia tak suka, dia bagi observation yang tak bagus. It cannot be like that. Because when we do direct observation, we are using our own eyes. Okay, so when we are using our own eyes, only we know the correct things. Okay, only we know the correct things. So kalau kita menipu, kalau kita bias pun orang tak tahu. Itu adalah kelemahan dia. So it must be skilled. It must be the skill observer yang kita gunakan untuk observe sesuatu keadaan. Alright, the observer will not get an accurate data if respondent know that they are being observed. Contohnya kalau kalau macam bosses dekat tempat kerja kan, dia observe dia punya pekerja, nak tengok attitude. Kalau dia punya pekerja tu tahu dia sedang di-observe, of course dia akan buat baik, datang awal, buat kerja, tak main Facebook waktu kerja. Of course, because they know that they're being observed. Okay, so that one is disadvantages of being observed, because somehow kita boleh tahu kita sedang di-observe. Contohnya kalau macam lecturer yang sedang mengajar, kalau dia punya ketua nak observe the way dia teaching, ketua dia dah tiba-tiba muncul dalam kelas, of course she know that she is being observed. Of course dia akan mengajar dengan baik, dia akan berinteraksi dengan student dengan baik. So that one is disadvantages of direct observation, because when respondent know they have been observed, of course they will be careful with their attitude. Okay, and then present observation tells us nothing about past or future happening. So maksudnya kalau kita observe pada hari ini, it cannot picture what happened yesterday and tomorrow. Okay, so apa yang kita observe hari ni lah, attitude people can change. Okay, people can change. Hari ni mungkin lain, esok lain, malam lain. Okay, so it cannot picture what happened yesterday and also tomorrow. So that one is disadvantages about direct observation. We can only observe current time. Okay, current time, pada masa itu sahaja. Alright. And the last data collection method is online survey. So what is online survey? Nowadays, online questionnaire is a very popular method to collect data. Okey, tambah-tambah sekarang ni teknologi macam-macam, Google Form lah, apa form lah semua. So biasanya kalau kita nak buat survey, kita guna je Google Form. Kita bagi je link Google Form dekat orang, orang akan buka Google Form tu dan orang akan jawab. That one is online survey. Okay, it is cheap way to reach respondent globally. So ini samalah macam email tadi, tapi ini lagi mudah, lagi cepat. Okay, so at one time we can reach respondent globally, dekat mana-mana, tak kisah luar negara, dalam negara, jauh, dekat, semua kita boleh capai. Okay, response rate are higher than mail questionnaire method, because if we are using online survey, biasanya once dia buka sahaja, dia kena jawab waktu tu. Okay, berbanding dengan email, kalau kita email dia questionnaire, dia kena download questionnaire tu, dia kena jawab dan dia kena hantar balik. Kalau kita minta dia jawab guna pen, lagilah nak kena scan, nak kena upload, nak kena hantar. But then if online, terus dia jawab dekat situ, automatic submit, dah siap. Okay, so it have a high response rate. Okay, nevertheless, respondent have to be reminded through email. Of course, yang ini samalah macam yang questionnaire tadi. Macam mana pun kita kena remind. Okay, this one is the link to questionnaire. Please answer this questionnaire within this time. We need to remind. Sometimes we need to remind multiple times. Okay, tolong jawab, tolong isi, tolong respon. Semua kita kena ingatkan walaupun is online. Alright, so what is the advantages of online survey? The first one is cheap way to reach respondent globally. Paling senang, paling murah, paling jimat. Jimat masa, jimat duit, jimat lah semua tenaga segala. Okay, jimat. And response rate are higher than mail questionnaire method. So response rate lebih tinggi berbanding dengan questionnaire tadi. Okay, what is disadvantages? Respondent may not answer the questionnaire. Ini biasalah kalau kita hantar questionnaire ke, hantar survey ke, kalau respondent tak nak tak respon lah. So kita tak dapat lah jawapan yang kita nak. Respondent might not understand the question very well. So ini sama macam questionnaire tadi, sebab benda tu adalah written question, soalan-soalan yang bertulis. So sometimes dia tak dapat apa yang kita nak tanya dia tak faham. So dia akan lead kepada respondent answer the question ikut sedap hati dia nak answer apa. Okay, so that one is disadvantages of online survey. So we learn 5 methods in data collecting. The first one is the direct or personal interview. Then we learn about telephone interview, and then we learn about mail questionnaire, and then we learn about direct observation, and the last one is online survey. And all of this is the data collection method, cara untuk kita mendapatkan data untuk sesuatu topik ataupun kajian yang kita buat.